narrative being spun right now by the media that Tyler Robinson is or was suicidal.
Not true, and I'm going to show you. In the 4th Judicial District Court, Utah County, State of Utah, the State of Utah, by and through the Utah County Attorney's Office, charges the defendant, Tyler James Robinson, with the commission of the following offenses. Let's go to page 6 and page 7. The bottom of page 6. Robinson's mother stated the following to law enforcement officials on September 11th of 2025, a day after the shooting. Robinson's mother saw a photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was homesick, and he had been homesick the day prior on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. Now let's go continue on to page number 7. Page number 7, we're going to read the first 3 paragraphs. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. And I'm sure the mother, the father, and the friend who was a retired deputy is likely going to take the stand, right? Because this isn't hearsay. It would be their direct eyewitness testimony to what they are saying here in these charges, I'd assume. But the trial hasn't happened yet. So anybody trying to sabotage a jury pool begs the question, why would you want to do that, knowing that this person is charged with the heinous act and crime of taking the life of Charlie Kirk, right? Okay, it continues on that she stated Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. So the mother is expressing that he had talked about Charlie Kirk and his beliefs and views on him prior to September 10th. And that he had expressed he knew where he was going to be prior to September 10th. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected life taker of Charlie Kirk in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed the rifle that police suspected was used, it matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. It wasn't a brand new one. It was an older one that belonged to the grandfather of Tyler Robinson. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo, and he couldn't do that because he didn't have it. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. That's one. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. They discussed the situation. Robinson implied that he was responsible for what happened to Charlie Kirk, and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. That's twice. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there's too much evil and Charlie Kirk, the guy, spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. And if you don't think that his mother, his father, who don't want to be contacted by YouTubers or podcasters, and that's why they have taken and disabled their social media accounts everywhere, because they don't want to be bothered and they don't want to taint anything in relation to their son's trial, presumably, because he's facing capital punishment. It's going to be, I would assume, a fact that they're going to call the mother, the father, and the family friend, who is a retired deputy with the sheriff's department, to be an eyewitness to testify to what they said on pages 6 and pages 7. And he never once ever stated that he had any kind of ideation, but his mother and father stated that he did. This is not just hearsay. If they get on the stand and testify to this as being truthful as what they have said, then it happened. And I'm assuming that's what's going to really happen at the trial, but the trial hasn't happened yet. But my question is, why would anybody try to thwart justice? Why would anybody try to obstruct or impede justice by tainting a possible jury pool? Because nobody, me, Candace Owens, is privy to the FBI's case. Utah law enforcement, their case file, their evidence, their DNA, their proof, fingerprints, palm print, any of the stuff that they have to prove that this is the person that did this to Charlie Kirk. It might not be an outright confession to law enforcement, but I'm sure his mother, his father, and that family friend are going to testify to exactly what he said to them. The truth is the truth is the truth. Facts are facts are facts. Candace Owens is not going to be privy to all the facts and the truth because she's not a lawyer. She's not involved in this case. She's not a law enforcement official. See, when I really started paying attention, And I know Candace Owens, she believes that law enforcement, the federal agents, the CIA, she's obsessed with psychiatry for some reason. Likely because she's using it to manipulate her audience. They're all bad. They're all liars. They're all corrupt. What was it that was said to a religious leader and friend and pastor of Charlie Kirk? Oh, if you're not going to provide everything you have, then I'm going to have to ask for your silence. If you have nothing to offer the case and nothing to offer to bring justice to the person with the one thing they did one time to end the life of this one person, then I'm going to have to ask for your silence. Sit down. Shut up. Does that same logic apply to everybody else, including Candace Owens? Because Candace Owens, as much as I liked her for the last several years, as much as I supported her and bought her book and her backing Xavier Poussard's investigation into Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron, something changed when I really started paying attention to the Charlie Kirk stuff. You believe the earth is flat, you don't believe in science, you don't believe in dinosaurs, fine. Aliens, Bigfoot, the abominable snowman, those kinds of conspiracy theories are fine because it doesn't hurt anybody. But all of this documented video proof and stories and all of these words and captions and posts on Twitter, aka X, those are forever. But hey, I'm just asking questions. Why would anybody that worked with Charlie Kirk or was a Mason of Turning Point USA, why would they be supporting the person who is charged with taking his life? By putting out a narrative to a mainstream audience. Oh, he never once said that he had any kind of ideation whatsoever. Incorrect. Never stepped foot on UVU campus. Incorrect. He knew about the event before the event. His father and mother specifically state such. That he's not responsible and he did not do this and he did not confess. He did to his mom and his dad and a family friend. They can go on the stand and say that themselves. But that he didn't do this and he didn't act alone. It only took one thing one time to end the life of Charlie Kirk. Who else is there?